It's Christmas in July, and we're celebrating at holidayslane.com. Our artisan ornament collections capture the essence of your best holiday memories. Each is meticulously handcrafted with color-coordinated, individually placed check glass beads, ribbons, festive toppers, and sequins, making each ornament truly unique. To view our whole collection, head on over to holidayslane.com. That's holidays with an S, where every day is a holiday.
Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So you aren't the only person I've heard talk about this show, actually. I've heard a lot of good things about the show that we're talking about today. Dead End Paranormal Park.
Yeah.
But you were the one that figured out, oh shit, episode 5 called Nightmare Before Christmas in July.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, we were going to have to cover it, even if it is just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
It had Christmas in the title. That was all it really needed to get us through. But yeah, we're talking about Dead End Paranormal Park. Season 1, episode 3, brand new show on Netflix.
Yeah, just dropped a couple weeks ago. It's so fucking charming.
So let me ask you a question, because I know nothing about this show besides this one episode that we watched. It looks like the animation is a little bit on the cheaper end.
Yeah,
I want to
I
say
can see that.
Like, I just wasn't sure. Like, did you feel like that was like a stylistic choice or a budgetary choice or what?
I will say that the animation is very close to the comic book style.
Okay.
It does seem like the animation is very much cheap Steven Universe. That's
Okay.
kind of what it looks like animation wise. Apparently it was based on a graphic novel, but it was also turned into a web short, a cartoon web short as well. I will say, if you can get past, because I do agree that the animation isn't the best, if you can get past the animation, I think the rest of it's absolutely incredible. I think it's dealing with topics that aren't approached in animation a lot.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through here right now because I really knew nothing about the show, and I'm seeing that the main character is trans.
Yeah, so
I did not pick that up in this episode.
Yeah, well,
whatsoever.
That's the thing. Is like, I know you had texted me. You're like, "Can I just watch this episode?" And you can, and you're going to understand the main premise of what's going on, but the little nuances about the different characters. So Barney is, as I'm reading it right off the wiki, but I've been watching this, I'll explain a little bit more, is a gay teenage Jewish trans boy who works at the haunted house. We don't know too much about them yet. I don't even know how much to go off this wiki, because the way the character is acting, it seems that they're non-binary, but I don't know. I haven't finished the season yet. I do know that there are issues in episode 1. He is living at home. Okay.
Yeah.
In episode 1, he is living at home, and his mother, their mother, makes mention of the grandmother coming over. And Barney says, "Did you tell her that I will be here?" And she said, "Yes." And Barney goes, "No. Did you tell her that Barney will be here?" So it sounds like they originally went by something different. But their family is really trying to deal with this situation of him transitioning. And basically what we have here, Dead End Park, is these two characters. You've got Norma and Barney, and they both really want to work at this amusement park it's Disney World. Like, it's 100% Disney World. But it's all based off of this character named Pauline Phoenix. And Pauline Phoenix owns Phoenix Parks, and it is very much Disney World. So you've got Barney, who I just described, and then you have Norma, who is
Who
a pack.
came
Yep.
So I've read a little bit on the wiki.
Yeah.
I caught that there was a little bit of an autistic
Exactly.
angle
And
with
that's
her.
dealt
Yeah.
with a lot in episode 3. Yes, you can totally watch this episode separate from the rest. But I think you get a lot more of the nuances with each character if you know what's going on so far. So the
Yeah,
first
I would say that this felt like when I was watching it before I checked anything on the wiki, which was literally just a couple seconds ago, it felt like just kind of a run of the mill, slightly more demented, like Disney cartoon
yeah,
that you
yeah,
would
for
see
sure.
like in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like this could have been Loud House, and I would have been like, perfect, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but now I'm hearing like, oh, these are the character traits. Like
Yeah.
none of that is really alluded to at all in this particular
No.
episode.
So the first episode, we've got those two main characters that I've talked about vying for a job at Phoenix Park, and there's this crazy stuff happening at Phoenix Park, and you kind of find out that there is a portal to hell in this particular Phoenix Park, in the haunted house, and you meet the demon
Courtney,
who is in
yeah,
this episode as well, Courtney. Yep. And there's also another demon named Tumultuous, who possesses the pug in the first episode, and they banish part of the demon out of the pug, which is why the pug can still talk. So they've gotten rid of like the evil portion of him, but the dog still like has magical powers now. And then that turns our two main characters into three main characters, basically, because you also have Pugsley now as well. And after the first episode, it very much goes into, all right, these are the problems that Norma's dealing with, being on the autistic spectrum and dealing with social interactions and fears and stuff like that. And then episode 3 gets into Barney's relationship with his little brother now that he has run away from home and is now living in the haunted house, dealing with it's his brother's birthday, and he's like, do I show up to this? His brother like says that he misses him and stuff like that. So you're dealing with those hard issues, but what's cool about it is while you're dealing with those hard issues, it's also a monster of the week. So like the first episode was that demon, the second episode are the mascots that have been retired are coming back, and they want meat. And in the beginning you're like, oh my god, they're cannibalistic mascots. No, they don't want human meat, they want meet and greets. Like they miss meeting the people in the park, but they come up and they're all like torn flesh and stuff like that, so everybody's scared of them even though they just want to do meet and greets again. Third episode is a demon that is pulling sleep from different characters. Maybe I think everything's kind of running together in my head.
yeah.
But it's like it's showing Barney's biggest fear, which is their grandmother not loving them anymore. And it also deals with Barney's relationship with Pugsley, who's now talking, and Barney looks at Pugsley and says, why can't you be like you used to be?
Yeah.
And has a realization that they now sound like their grandmother interacting with Barney. Yeah,
Oh.
so it's like it's really heavy, but in the midst of those heavy moments, you've also got this weird worm creature with a human face that just pops up in every episode. There's no I don't know what it is yet, but at the beginning of each episode, it's just kind of hanging out. I think in this episode, it's sitting in Courtney's seat at one point and just crawls away. You've got Courtney, this demon who all they want to do is get home to presumably hell, and they can't get home because they owe something to Tumultuous. So they can't get home, especially because like basically Pugsley escaped. I'm rambling. This series I think is important. I like what it's done. It's something different. It's approaching topics that are quote unquote controversial right now, and I like that it's tying in these deeper topics into something that is really interesting and really awesome. I like this monster of the week thing, but we're also approaching these difficult topics. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think that there is something that's worth pointing out in a positive way that, like, isn't the perfect world that we're trying to get to the fact that I can watch a random middle episode of a show and not recognize a character as trans or a
yeah,
character as autistic, but just recognize them as who they are. Like,
exactly.
that is actually a really powerful storytelling technique.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. I know you're super busy, but I do highly recommend you check out the rest of
I mean,
this.
I will. It's
Yeah.
it's probably, again, it's just probably have to be after Comic-Con. Visit the Geek
Yeah,
Scape booth
totally
at
get that.
3919. But I did write down a few things.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the pretty much one of the first jokes is, I'm guessing this is the Phoenix person you were talking about.
Yeah.
They're announcing that they're celebrating Christmas in July, and to honor it is their hit song "It's Always Christmas in
It's
July Somewhere,"
Yep.
which is just such a funny, like, 5 o'clock somewhere, blend it with, like, it's
Yeah.
Christmas in July celebrations. So I got that. There was the joke where Pugsley said, turns out game shows were actually invented in hell, which is a pretty good line. But the line that got me the hardest,
Yeah.
I think, well, there's two. The one line is when they're on the game show and they're like, "I'm Barney and I'm a security guard," and, like, Nora's like, "And I'm Nora and I'm a security guard," and then Pugsley just goes, "And I'm the comic relief."
Yep.
like, like, that got a big laugh out of me. And then at one point they get to the sudden death round where Barney dies, and there's someone watching TV with Courtney, and she goes, "Yo, did Barney just straight up die?"
Die? You should
So-
and Ed Courtney's like, "Oh my god, pass me the popcorn!" Like,
Yeah.
it's so good.
I was very charmed by this for
Good.
sure. I was like, but, like, I mean, the plus is that there's only 10 episodes of this.
Yes.
There was a point where I went to a friend's house and I was very charmed by, like, the 5 or 6 episodes of Adventure Time that I watched,
Oh Jesus.
until I was like, "Oh, there's 100 more of these."
Yeah.
Like,
Very much so.
but I'm currently, but the flip side is, like, I'm currently in the middle of watching all 11 seasons of MASH. So, like, who the fuck am I to be
Yeah.
like, 100 episodes of Adventure Time is too much?
You remember, you watched the entire Alf series and
Multiple
enjoyed
times.
it.
Multiple times. I have the DVDs over there. Oh, trust me, we will talk MASH sooner or later because their Christmas
for it.
episodes
I like MASH.
are real heavy. And they
Yeah.
have more Christmas episodes than there were years in the Korean War,
Yeah.
which is awesome. 'Cause
That's
the Korean War
insane.
was like, what? It was like a 3-year.
Yeah.
It was a 3-year thing, but there's 7 Christmas specials.
Yeah.
So
I will say, this is not something that will be on my yearly Christmas watch. There's not a lot of Christmas.
no, I mean,
in
this
this.
is barely. I mean,
It's
this is. It hits the July note really well.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't really hit
very-
the Christmas note.
We open on Christmas in July themed activities, and then we close on Christmas in July. There's a very solid 20 minutes in there that is not Christmas, but I like the Christmas in July portions. I like that they did the whole park covered in snow,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that I have friends that throw Christmas in July parties
Look,
where
I
they're
mean-
inside in fucking sweaters, and it's like, dude, just fucking stop. Like,
Yeah, pump the fucking brakes. Look, I mean, the reality is with the show that we do, if someone's dropping anything with the word Christmas brand new,
oh, we're watching it.
we're
dude.
we have to.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. But I love it. I love that it's brought up where it's like Christmas in July, too hot for this sweater, and Barney's
Yep.
wearing a Star of David sweater.
yeah,
And
no,
I think
it's
like,
great.
are you supposed to be celebrating Christmas? And I think he says, no, but I can celebrate Christmas in July. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a real thing, so
Yeah,
let's do it. And they give
exactly.
out the gifts. Like, it's sweet. It's very sweet. I love shows
Yes.
where you can tell the characters all love and care about each other.
Yes.
I do love the bit that the game show that they're on has never had someone reach the second level of
Yeah.
the game, and
I've
they're
never
just,
seen
like,
someone get to the second round.
Yeah. They're just dominating this game through their logic and love of each other. So
And
it's
the game show is very it's very Nick Arcade and Legends of the Hidden Temple, which I
for
love. I
sure.
love the description of the game because the first thing that popped in my head was Nick Arcade. And then when they get to the steps and stuff, it was very Legends of the Hidden Temple. I love the way that they did the different games. Like, I love the lightning on the steps,
Yeah,
and it
the
would just
lightning
go
round was really
slow.
cool.
Like, that
Yeah.
was really cool. It's a very clever show, and what's nice is, as you said, 10 episodes, 20 minutes apiece, you're in and
Yeah.
out.
I
Good to
will
go.
say that there's a bit of a bummer with the final round. For like all of the other rounds, them winning
Yeah.
out of logic. It's very like Deus Machina type
Yeah.
ending on this final round, which I'm sure plays into something beautiful in the overall like 10 episode arc of the
Yes.
show.
Yes.
But watching this as like an individual episode, I'm just like, well, that's kind of that fell flat after
Yeah.
3 really like cool rounds of them like solving a mystery.
Yes.
Like they
Yeah.
got saved by nepotism, essentially.
Yeah.
A mistaken case of nepotism, I
Yes.
guess, more
Yes.
accurate. And thank you because you did answer my one question where I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on with this dog? But
Yeah, so like I said, Pugsley was possessed in the first episode by the demon of the park. So the first episode starts with an actress playing the role of, I think it's an actress playing the role of Pauline Phoenix. Like I said, there's an overarching mystery happening in this show as well, and I haven't finished the series yet. But she's in this hall of mirrors and gets taken out basically, and so we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on at Phoenix Park. And in the beginning, when these two are going to interview for this job, that Courtney was the one to put up the flyers for, because Courtney the demon is trying to earn her freedom basically.
yeah,
And basically in that, Pugsley gets possessed and they get the demon out of Pugsley, but not fully. So Pugsley now has powers, but that demon is still out there and still trying to seek revenge. And I think at the end of this, it's at the end of this episode where that demon's sister discovers that like that demon is still alive. So I think I can't remember her name, but she's like this green demon lady.
yeah.
She's
She didn't
like,
get a name in what I
yeah,
watched.
exactly.
But,
So she is the sister of the demon that possessed Pugsley in the first episode. So we'll have to see where it goes next. But like you said, basically, I saw that this show had dropped just like you. I had seen a lot of people talking about it. And I'm like, I'll check this out. And I think when I pulled it up on Netflix, I think Teddy was the one that goes, hey, there's a Christmas in July episode. You and Matt will have to do that. And I think I texted you as soon as she said that. And I'm like, hey, let's do it.
yeah, we're getting
got
better at
something
staying on
new,
top of
man.
that.
We got something new dropping.
Our biggest problem, our biggest problem
Is it
so
me?
far, no, is Dylan. No, our biggest problem is that we always talk this big game, where we're like this year, come November, we're gonna watch every new thing that drops, and we're gonna just record episodes for it, and we'll release it in January or February. And then we're like, I don't want to fucking watch the new Home Alone movie.
But can you blame us? Can anybody listening blame us? I still don't want to watch that fucking movie.
Here's the thing that I still stand by, which is like, maybe we can release one if it's a big deal. We can release like one during November, December. But to me, November and December is all about like, what is the most
Classics.
nostalgic Christmas thing for us months. Like those are important months for us to really, when we're like at our emotional high. But again, we will try to be on top of our game and be like, oh, Netflix dropped this show that has a Christmas special. Like, let's just fucking watch it and hit record. And like, even if it's like a 20-minute episode, it's something for like the January, February, March
I hope we
month.
get more. Like, I hope we get more.
We kind of got ripped off. We had like Big Mouth. We had 8-Bit Christmas.
8-Bit Christmas, and that was about it.
We had the Home Alone. And then like there's the typical like Netflix straight to whatever. Like I think it was like A Castle for Christmas this year. But like I'm talking about like, you got a streaming site, like give us some streaming Christmas specials.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is going back to our topic from a couple weeks ago, series that you wish received Christmas specials. How the fuck did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon not have a Christmas special? Like, I don't understand
it's crazy.
it.
I got to see when the new season of Clone High's dropping, but we've got to talk about the Clone High Christmas special.
Also, let me ask you a question. I know that you are definitely the expert of the early 2000s MTV cartoons that came out in the early 2000s with Clone High. What was the one they play like Quake in one of the episodes?
Was it college students?
Yeah,
It was probably undergrads. 3 South was the
it
one
was
that Brian
undergrads.
Posehn. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Undergrads was amazing. We're going to have to track down season 3, episode 11 of Adventures of Pete and Pete. Oh, Christmas, Pete. Oh, Christmas, Pete.
Ooh.
Because have you ever sat down and watched Pete and Pete?
Yeah.
I was going to say that's a
I don't
weird
remember
show.
I don't remember the Christmas episode though.
Well, all of season 3 is so hard to find because of that.
Why is season 3
So-
not available?
So all I know, because I listened to the Adventures of Danny and Mike, which is Danny Tamporelli and Mike, whatever his last name is, who played Pete and Pete, have a podcast where it's mostly just them like getting stoned and talking about random shit.
Yeah.
But they'll answer questions from fans, and like they have on multiple occasions been like, there is a warehouse in New Jersey that has literally thousands of Pete and Pete season 3 DVDs that for some reason Nickelodeon just did not release because they weren't happy with the sales of seasons 2.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm just saying, if we all gathered around and we stormed the building, we could get to those DVDs. Like they've been like for like at least 10 years basically been pitching this idea that like all the Pete and Pete fans need to just like show up at this warehouse at once and politely beg for them to please give us these DVDs that are just collecting dust.
And it's
in
not
this warehouse.
streaming anywhere? Like it's not on?
I don't know if Pete and Pete is streaming period anywhere, but
I
the
think that
first
would
two
be a
DVDs
Paramount.
were amazing. Like the first 2 DVDs had commentary tracks and like all of the old shorts, and it was great. And then season 3, like it's just not out there. It's not about. The same thing happened with the Muppets. They released seasons 1 through 3 of the Muppets, and then
I remember that.
season 4 was announced that never came out, and then it just died. And now it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, well now it's been almost 20 years. Like at the most I can hope for is that someone eventually is just like, hey, we're just going to put out like the complete series on like whatever, and I get rid of my DVDs to replace it with like a big box complete series of something. But I just don't want to buy. I don't know. I don't want to buy any more fucking bootlegs from Monster Mania. Like I don't want to buy like, because I have like the real Ghostbusters bootleg that's like every episode of the real Ghostbusters, but that shit is horrible. There's no menus. It's like taped off of television. It has some of the commercials in it. Like it's just like, I just want like a normal disc that I can go and find the episode that I want to watch and select it. Like if God forbid we decide we want to do the real Ghostbusters Christmas episode, I've got to like do the math in my head to figure out which of the 40 discs that episode might have fallen on, and then like fast forward until I see what looks like a Christmas episode.
Dude, you're not wrong, man.
Yeah.
And I've always popped over there, and I think you know which booth I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's like right on the corner there. And I wanted to like the Are You Afraid of the Dark special series over there, the Salute Your Shorts. Every year when I was going, I was like, I think I'm gonna grab this.
Yeah.
And then
but
I
never do.
No. Same.
But I want to make it very clear real quick for the people who know what the hell we're talking about. I am not talking about VHS-PS. They are fine.
No. Yes.
An unbelievable product.
Correct.
There's another group, and you know what? They're still doing God's work. They're making something available that isn't available.
Yep.
But the quality of their content is nowhere on the level of the love and care that VHS-PS puts onto their stuff.
Love VHS-PS.
But
yeah, man. But
so there's a long way to get to what I wanted to say to you, Dylan, which is Happy Christmas in July, Dylan.
Happy Christmas in July, Matt.
Now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday. Have a great holiday. Have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.